Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Victor Fey. I am Vice President of MATRIZ Official. I hope you can hear me. Please indicate somehow in chat that you can hear me.
Yes.
Excellent. So today I have a pleasure of introducing to you the second webinar of our webinar series. It will be conducted by Valeri Souchkov, who is also my colleague at MATRIZ Official, Vice President of our association, and he's a leading authority in a relatively new application of TRIZ. It's the application of TRIZ in business. And the topic of today's presentation is accelerating business innovation with TRIZ or business TRIZ. So without much ado, Valeri, the screen is yours. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we start, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat, type them in the chat. And when Valeri is over with his presentation, you will have a chance to hear his answers to your questions. Valeri, please.
Okay, Victor, thank you very much. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And thanks you for visiting our webinar. It is the second webinar in a series of webinars started by MATRIZ Official. You probably know that MATRIZ Official is a spin-off of old MATRIZ Association, launched in September last year. So my topic today is business TRIZ, accelerating business innovation. Our webinar will take 1 hour and about 40 minutes. I will do my presentation, and then 20 minutes is left for my answers to your questions. So as Mr. Fay said, please write your questions in a chat window whenever you have one. Okay, so let us start. This is slide to show who I am. Probably not everybody knows me. I started my TRIZ career in 1989 since co-founding Invention Machine Corporation. And Invention Machine Corporation was a company which disseminated TRIZ around the world with the help of software which was called Invention Machine. A spin-off of this software still exists. It's called Goldfire, but it mostly sold to corporate customers. At this moment, I had a company, ICG Training Consulting, founded in 2003, and I'm president of International Business TRIZ Association and vice president and board member of MATRIZ Official. So just very short about me. So we all know that TRIZ is and was created and still evolving to support technical invention, technical innovation. However, recently, it became obvious that technical innovation to compete on a global space, especially on a global scale, to innovate only in technological world is not enough. It became clear that competition is growing in a business area. So two companies might propose to the market very competitive products, but those companies which will have a winning business model will definitely win. Also, both products can be very competitive. If we look back 120, 140 years, capitalism was pretty straightforward. Most what was interested were revenues, profit, and market size. These were the key criteria which distinguished companies from each other. However, if we look today, we will see that the number of such criteria has immensely grown. It is a value proposition. It is a growth potential. It is intellectual property, social impact, reputation, trust, customer experience, ecology, sustainability, global networking. All these factors impact the value of your business, value of your company. And innovation can be done with regard to any of these factors. And it is being done. So, if we look at the technology, when we talk about innovation, so mostly we're talking about innovation in two categories. Either innovation of products or innovation of manufacturing. Well, actually, we have to create these products, and manufacturing are processes which are presented and described to create the products. However, when we look at a business innovation, we see also two categories of innovation. These are business systems, first of all, which are represented through business models. And business system is your company, or your organization, or your network of companies. And business products, which is services. When I speak about insurance, healthcare, entertainment, hotel, HoReCa, it's all about processes in which we do not create products, but we create services which target at satisfying specific customer needs. So these are two large categories of business innovation. There is a big difference between technical innovation and business innovation. Technical innovation can be patented and protected. You can patent your product and enjoy living for 20, 25 years, as long as patent is valid. And be sure that nobody will steal your idea, your product. However, in business, the competition is more fierce because you cannot patent your business model. You cannot patent your service. Well, in some countries, there are patents for business process, but not in many. For instance, in Europe, there are no patents for business services. So you have to be quick as possible with all possible improvements, elimination of harmful effects, and so forth. That makes demands for business innovation even more stricter than demands for technological innovation, where you can still be protected. Also, yes, today we have different ways to round about patents, but still there are very strong patents. If you look at the evolution of TRIZ, you know that TRIZ was established. Well, the date of birth of TRIZ is 1956, when Henry Halsur published a first article about TRIZ. And this article was published in a journal, Questions of Psychology, in Russian language, in Russia, in 1956, where he presented the first core concepts of TRIZ. It gave birth to technical TRIZ, how we call it. And technical TRIZ, this red line, it is still evolving. It's a large framework of tools and processes which support and target at different innovation tasks. However, let's say in 1954, the first research in non-technical TRIZ was initiated. The first articles were published by Boris Lotin and Alla Zusman back in 1984-86 about the trends of evolution of communities. And these articles are still valid today. In 1994, a St. Petersburg School of TRIZ started exploration in TRIZ for marketing, TRIZ for public relations, TRIZ for advertisement. And back in 1999, me, in cooperation with some other people, we decided that TRIZ has to be valid not only for technical areas, but for business systems as well. And the research has started. And today, I must say that TRIZ for Business and Management, we call it Business TRIZ. Business TRIZ is already a well-established and a system which has training programs of all 5 levels, just like a technical TRIZ. You know probably that there are 5 levels of certification introduced by Henry Schuler and later formalized by MATRIZ Association. And today we have exactly the same system for Business TRIZ. So in this overview, I will give you, in this presentation, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what Business TRIZ today is and what its state of art of today is. So, when we speak about business innovation, what kind of categories and tasks for innovation exist? You know that in technical TRIZ, we have a selection of more than 30 different tools. And people who are not familiar with TRIZ or innovation usually ask, why do you mean so many tools? Or all what you need is just a single tool to create a new idea, right? It's right, but ideas are produced for different goals. For example, improve quality. It's the first category. It is where you eliminate negative, unwanted, undesired effects within a business system or a business product. When I speak about business product, I speak about a service. Second, you want to improve performance of your business system or your service. Third, you want to radically decrease cost-creating factors within a business system or within a process of delivery a service. Then you want to improve design and psychological attractiveness of your business product. Then you want to improve user experience with your business product. Well, a simple example, when you go to a dentist, it's probably not the task you want to do every day. But if you enjoy going to a dentist, then you will definitely have a good experience with visiting a dentist. Then adding a new functionality to the existing business models or value proposition or a service. Then when you have a new service, you might search for a new market for it, like insurance. Insurance was invented to insure goods for travelers. But then insurance was extended to different goals to insure your houses, insure your life, insure your pets, and so on. Expand and transform or creating new value networks. Because today, you know, all businesses operate on the basis of value networks. It's only a small company in some small geographical space can generate without value network. And finally, create a radically new or disruptive business model or value proposition. So when you create a new business model or a new type of service, you create something really new. Or you create a disruptive business model or value proposition. Disruptive means not radical, new. You don't invent a new value of parameter. With a disruptive, you create a similar product which exists or a similar service, but many times cheaper than the existing one. So you win on the cost side. So in this slide, I showed you the categories of business innovation which are available today. And to deal with those categories of innovation, Business TRIZ has 3 large areas. The first large area, the red one, is for solving specific business problems and challenges. You know, when you want to solve a certain problem, there are millions and billions of problems arising every day in business. Most of them can be solved with the traditional standard methods, which are already known, or with optimization. But there are always problems which cannot be solved with optimization or known methods or known solutions. So in this case, you need to go out of the box. You need to come up with some creative idea which hasn't existed before in your area. And to do this, if you know technical TRIZ, you know how to do it in technical TRIZ. The question is how to do it in business. And in business, the way of dealing with problems is the same as with technology. Why it is so? Because in business and in technology, we deal with utilitarian systems. Systems which are created for satisfying our needs. So you can think about a system as a continuation of a human being. If you have a hammer is nothing more like than our fist, which can hit the nail. So a hammer is, you can see how as a continuation or extension of our fist, of our arm. And the way people solve problems for utilitarian systems are actually, on an abstract level, are the same. No matter what you do, you improve a hammer or you improve your company. Well, it sounds a little bit crazy, but believe me, it is true. Well, today we don't have time to show you how it works and why it is so, but most of TRIZ patterns, technical TRIZ patterns, which were developed during 70 years of TRIZ existence, appeared to be valid for transforming business systems whenever you have the same type of problems. Well, like what I mean, like a harmful effect emerging. Like when you hit a nail, you can damage your fingers. Or when you sell a service, you can damage your customer, especially if you sell it wrong or you sell it to a wrong customer. So this red area, it's a first level of business TRIZ, targets at solving specific problems. Second area, a blue area. The blue area deals with improving of the existing business systems or business products. We look at the system or a service and analyze its innovation potential on the basis of analyzing functionality or interactions within a system or within a system and its supersystem. And supersystem of a system is whole external environment which surrounds the systems, interacts with it, but is not a part of a system. Well, if you take a school, for example, the teachers, books, library, classes are all part of a system. But children, their parents, are not part of the system. They are super system. So the second blue area is to improve the systems by finding disadvantages within existing systems. And the third green circle is because, in TRIZ, in technical TRIZ, during long-term studies, it was discovered that all systems evolve according to certain trends and regularities. Then this green area consists tools and knowledge for forecasting and road mapping of new innovations in business. Because similar trends as for technology, similar trends exist for business systems and business services and products. For example, a trend of functionality evolution, which consists of 18 steps. The same trend exists for technology, and the same trend exists for business systems. Exactly the same 18 steps. And it's just one line. We know about 35 lines, along which line we can evaluate where your business system is now and create a radar on which we can see on each 45 lines what your system is now. And the unoccupied space along each line will help you to forecast evolution of your business system. In this slide, I showed the tools which are used at each of the areas. Level 1, specific challenge, problem solving. Level 2, innovating an existing system. And level 3, future innovation and road mapping. Well, I will not explain the details now. You will get this presentation afterwards, and you can see of each tool and read which tools are in each of the levels. Let me remind you of 3 major postulates of modern TRIZ. Well, it's written all business systems, but you can read also all technical systems. Because again, as I said, both technical systems and business systems are utilitarian systems, which evolve according to the same trends and regularities. However, often I'm asked, why don't you apply TRIZ to social system? In social systems, the rules of systems formation and transformation are different. And the goals are also different. That's why I say, yes, TRIZ definitely works in social systems, but we need a special version of TRIZ for social systems, because the business TRIZ version, it took me approximately 15 years to adapt the existing TRIZ tools and develop new tools to create a TRIZ which is adapted to business framework. Because the classical TRIZ, if you take it and start teaching business people with the classical TRIZ, you will create a cognitive gap. Of course, business people are smart people. They can grasp the ideas and concepts and the knowledge, but they will hardly put it to their implementation. That's why it's a lot of time were taken to adapt technical TRIZ knowledge to business, and new terminology, new descriptions of inventive principles, inventive standards, everything was required. But again, let's come back to 3 postulates of modern TRIZ. All business systems evolve through emergence and elimination of contradictions. It is in technology and in business. All systems evolve according to specific trends and regularities. It is both in technology and business. And all business systems evolve according to increasing their degree of ideality. What is ideal system? An ideal system is a system which function is delivered, but a system does not exist. For technology, we definitely would like to have. So people don't need systems. They need functions delivered by these systems. You see? And of course, if you look at the painting, for instance, or works of art, that's question. Do we only need functions? Definitely not. We need something else. We need something more material. That's why I say that TRIZ is good for technology and business, but it's questionable for works of art or social life, social systems, and so on. But okay, go back to business systems. Contradiction. Contradiction is a core concept of TRIZ. Altshuler found that all the products, when they evolve by gradually improving their parameters, finally stick, and the parameter cannot be improved anymore with the previous principle of delivering the parameter. And finally, evolution of an object according to certain parameter faces a contradiction. Like, what is contradiction? Contradiction is a philosophical term where in one sentence there are 2 opposite things. Like, a snow is cold and warm. So, can be snow cold and warm at the same time? No, definitely not. A tea is cold and warm. Can a tea can be cold and warm at the same time? Definitely not. A sand is hard and soft at the same time. Can a sand can be hard and soft at the same time? No, definitely. But some problems require us to have two opposite properties at the same time. And TRIZ says that to obtain an inventive solution, a contradiction must be fully removed. No compromise, no optimization. A contradiction must cease to exist. Well, let's have a look at the business world. A store must be open at night to increase sales and at the same time closed at night to avoid extra cost for personnel. An employee must be fired for a company must leave a company in order to save the company budget, but at the same time must stay at the company because the company loses key competence by losing the employee. A company is willing to make its services fully transparent so the customers could see what's going on, but at the same time it doesn't want to make it fully transparent to let competitors not to learn about their services. A company has to implement a new technology to increase performance, but at the same time doesn't want to implement to avoid risks. A service should include extra functions to better satisfy a client, and at the same time should not include extra functions to avoid extra costs. So you see, it's all contradictions similar to technical contradictions. And the way of eliminating those contradictions are very similar to contradictions in technology. Not the same, but very similar. At the level of ideas, they are almost the same at an abstract level, but on a specific level, there are some differences. And when we solve problems, when we need to find a solution out of the box, you know that most of companies use brainstorm. Brainstorm is good to solve problems of a low level of complexity. Altshuler, back in the 70s, identified that there are 5 levels of complexity or difficulty with problem solving. Problems, a solution to which requires making from 1 to 10 attempts, he placed at level 1. Problems from 10 to 100 attempts, he placed to level 2. Level 3, 100,000 attempts. Level 4, 1,000, 10,000 attempts. And level 5, more than 10,000 attempts. In my 30 years of training and delivering consulting services for customers, I was usually called to deal with problems of levels 3 to 5. Because level 1, those problems can be easily solved with traditional brainstorming. You don't need to make TRIZ here. Partly level 2 companies also problems challenges can also be solved without TRIZ. TRIZ is needed when we have problems where we applied a lot of trials already but didn't get any result. That's where we need TRIZ. Let's have a look at a case. Here in the Netherlands there is a company which is called Eurocarbon. It exists since 1982. The founder of the company was inventor of overbraiding machine. This overbraiding machine helps to create parts made from carbon fibers. You know what carbon fibers are. You create a part like a part of the engine or a hole which are extremely strong, but at the same time very lightweight. And what is also good, these constructions from from carbon fibers are very much shock absorbing. And he invented a special overbraiding machine. When I went to this company, it was 2007, first time. In 2007, the company was the same size as in 1982. So almost 25 years, the company didn't grow. Why? Well, there was an article in the NRC Blad. It's one of the most important and central Dutch newspapers, which presented this case. Eurocarbon owner Arnold Woskam has been talking to the car manufacturers for almost a decade. I gave lectures about this throughout Europe. There were also people from BMW and Daimler Chrysler in the room. They were hooked up because the material is also very capable of absorbing energy in event of collision. You can hit a wall at 180 kilometers per hour and still get out of it. But all these dozens of years of talking didn't result in anything. BMW said that it's quite a bump to work with such a small company as Eurocarbon. So the goal of my consulting job was to help to solve this vicious loop. Because it's a typical vicious loop in system dynamics, probably you know it. Customer asks, can you guarantee 100% delivery in time with meeting all specs required? And Eurocarbon says, yes, we will invest, expand and organize production, but only if you guarantee that the deal will be closed. There were investors which were willing to invest, to expand Eurocarbon facilities, production, equipment, and so on. But a customer replies, but we only will close the deal if you demonstrate that you have capacity and guarantee 100% timely delivery with meeting all specs and demand required. So you see, it's a clear, vicious loop. In this case, you remember this area, blue area, red area with problem solving. When I showed three large circles of business trees, there was a first area. First area, it's a process. A process consisting of 6 steps. At the first stage, first 3 steps, we analyze the problem. We look in what creates a problem, what is the cause of problem, what are key contradictions which do not allow us to solve a problem. And I must say that a complex problem is created not by a single contradiction. A complex problem is created by a number of contradictions, which we today can distinguish through the tools of TRIZ. We can analyze problem and to expand and present all these contradictions in a form of tree, which creates all these contradictions. So once we identify which contradictions are core or key, we go to the step of creative steps, where we try to remove these contradictions and obtain solution ideas. And the last steps, 2 steps, we do evaluation of the ideas found and select the most potential idea. Well, a similar process was applied to Eurocarbon case. Value stream mapping, root conflict analysis, inventive principles, matrix of selecting inventive principles, building solution portfolio, and finally defining the solutions landscape. Landscape where we identify idea performance versus integral value, time, cost to market and cost to owner. And in the green square we have the best ideas or ideas with the best potential. And in the red square we have ideas with the lowest potential. All right. Oh, that's where TRIZ stops. we do not explore and implement these ideas, well, what to do next is a customer preference. Either we can help a customer to find someone who will come with implementation and execution, or a customer tries to implement the idea himself. Well, the idea of TRIZ, the power of TRIZ, is not that with TRIZ you only accelerate time for solutions. With TRIZ you also create ideas with a high level of ideality. And the more ideal solution is, the easier and cheaper would be to implement it. It's obvious. Okay, so the process took approximately 2 weeks. And we came up with several new ideas, new for Eurocarbon, like technology networking and co-development with large customers. So we found that the core contradiction in this case was that a company, Eurocarbon, has to be big to satisfy customer needs, and on the other hand, it has to stay small to avoid risks which would come after large investments. If there are large investments but not enough orders, then the company would go bankrupt. So this contradiction was solved by a principle of transition to super system. A new company was created together with Eurocarbon. When I came to them, they were only in this building, and the company was called Eurobrader. And Eurobrader was a joint company of Eurocarbon and their core customer. Well, in this case, BMW. Well, and they got orders from BMW for roof beam, for crash cones, and they changed their strategy. They said now that together we'll make a difference. Together we'll make a difference. They created a network of agents all worldwide and drastically grew their business. Well, at this slide, I just give examples of typical problems I deal with during the last 5 years. Well, I will not explain them. You will later see the presentation. These are companies which are customers of ICG TNC. You see it is banks, consulting companies, insurance companies, IT companies, technological companies like Eurocarbon's technological company, food production companies, and retailers. Is it available? The question is, how do you like, if you like to go into business trees to learn it? Yes, it is available. 3 years ago or 4 years ago, we created an association on business trees, www.biztrees.net. You can click on it and see there are YouTube videos of previous conferences. It's in Russian and in English, but everything is available, all the talks, so you can see different talks from different people. And the next conference will be on May 1920. It's only online in the time which is available for, which is comfortable for most of you. Well, I have large experience with delivering services, training services. It's photos from my business trees workshops, either introductory or advanced workshops. You see India, China, Poland, Belarus, Taiwan, Jordan, UK, Ukraine, Austria, Switzerland, even Russia. We have a program, each 3 levels, there are program, level 1, level 2, level 3. Programs are available both offline, online, and face-to-face, and hybrid formats, and certified with a certification. Okay, that's all what I wanted to tell you within 40 minutes. Unfortunately, there is no more, but we have questions and answers, There are contact data, so you can reach me anytime. And thank you very much for your attention. Please, questions and answers.
Thank you, Valerie. It was very interesting.
Welcome.
I have attended quite a few of your webinars and seminars, and each time I learned something new. Now we have a couple of questions. The first question, is a PDF copy of your presentation will be available? I hope the answer is yes.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Right.
Everybody will receive it tomorrow.
Excellent. Now, Rim HM Strokes, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, has one comment and one question. The comment is that Eurocarbon was a great example. Yes, it was. And the question is, could you please explain how the 40+ basic principles of TRIZ are helpful in solving problems, business problems?
What principles, sorry?
40 inventive principles.
40 inventive principles. Definitely. First of all, I can show you what are these 40 inventive principles. And you see, if you know the original 40 inventive principles, you will see the difference between the original principles and the principles which are in business trees. Wait a second, it will take just 1 minute. Okay. Okay. 40 techniques, technical principles, 40. Okay. Because the idea are the same of a principle, but the fitting is different. Okay, let me show you. It will be very... So probably you remember the TRIZ technical principles. But now I show you TRIZ business principles.
Because, Valerie, I saw in your presentation, when you mentioned the Eurocarbon example, this diagram with all the different principles. And I was wondering if it would be the same as with the technical TRIZ.
No. The matrix is very different. And matrix is created by Daryl Mann. It is called Business Matrix version 3.0. You can purchase it at the systematic-innovation.com by Daryl Mann. It's about 20 euros or pounds, something like that. And it's available in electronic format too. But I just want to show for others this share screen. Okay. I will share the screen. And this, So you see, these are principles. Number one, segmentation. It's almost the same as technical principle, but much more extended recommendation, number of recommendations. And examples are taken from business. There are principles which are where the number of recommendation is much more than in technology. Yeah, so you see, because they also present a principle for objects and also for processes. Because one of the big difference of thinking of an engineer and a business person is that engineer usually thinks in terms of systems, but business people think in terms of processes. Because if you look at the classical 40 inventive principles, they are all for objects, but we adapted them to be like accessible for process as well.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. We have two questions from Bing Han. They're a little bit long, so I will take a liberty of condensing them. So question number one, TRIZ is not mathematics and contrary to mathematics, TRIZ doesn't generate solutions on its own. In other words, when you solve an equation, the rules of mathematics help you produce the exact answer. But TRIZ just gives suggestions, recommendations, guidelines. So people tell me, that is Mr. Han, that TRIZ cannot be used directly. How do you think about this thing? What would be yours?
First of all, mathematics is a formal science, and in formal science you get equation of solutions, equation where you know exactly how many solutions you will get. That's correct. In mathematics deal with closed problems, but TRIZ deals with open-ended problems. To each problem which is open-ended, might be generated an infinite number of solutions. And the more difficult your problem is, the more number of solutions you have to move through. So you see that problem with Eurocarbon, it existed for a decade, 10 years. 10 years the owner tried to solve it. With TRIZ, it took us 2 weeks to come up with a solution which was totally outside of the area of solution space which were explored by the owner of the company. So what you do with TRIZ, large area space which you have to explore to find a solution to the open-ended problem, a difficult open-ended problems. You have to make, like I showed, 10,000 more, maybe more trials, and it might take whole your life. But TRIZ is drastically compresses the space, and it places you within the sector where the right solutions directions are. Yes, TRIZ doesn't give you exact solutions, but it gives you directions towards strongest solutions. In this case, for especially difficult problems, you eliminate huge time which you would spend otherwise.
Thank you, Valeri. And the second question from Mr. Han. During business TRIZ workshop, many experienced practitioners in business and management told me that the problem can also be fastly solved just with rich industry experience. So there is no need for using TRIZ. So what is the advantage of business TRIZ for them? What changes do you think TRIZ can actually bring to such people? Exactly.
It's the same with technology. Take a starting engineer, give him a problem, an inventive problem. He will struggle. Take an engineer with 40, 30 years of experience. He will instantly solve this problem, especially if the problem is of level 1 or 2 of complexity. But at level 3, your immense rich experience, because it's never been solved in your area, your 30, 40 years of experience means absolutely nothing. For solving problems of a low level of complexity, of course, rich experience plays immense role. But for problems which were never solved, your rich experience doesn't mean anything. Believe me, 30 years, everyday work.
Okay, thanks, Valeri. One more question from Andres Lovich. The technical 40 IP and the standard solutions, 40 inventory principle and the standard solutions are based on patent analysis. What is the database for business TRIZ, please?
Unfortunately, there is no such database for patents for business solutions. So business solutions I mostly accumulate through literature, through talks to my customers, through reading magazines and so on. So, for instance, to create a system of inventive standards, it is based on thousands of described solutions. 1,200 described solutions.
Thank you. Now we have a question from Eknath Eitavadi. Again, I am sorry if I mispronounce your name. How can we apply TRIZ in network marketing?
We have to find a problem. we have to define a problem for network marketing. There are two starting points from TRIZ. First starting point, if we want to improve something or innovate something, we have to analyze an existing system or a process, find disadvantages, and apply TRIZ patterns and rules to eliminate these disadvantages. And second is to apply patterns of systems evolution. In this case, we'll take network marketing and analyze it and put its state of the art on the radar plot of 35 lines of evolution. And according to each line of evolution, we will see the evolution potential for network marketing. It can be done in 1 minute to show you. I'm sorry. I just described you two processes with which we can improve or innovate network marketing.
Next question from Harsha Gangan. I would like to ask one question as a student of business trees. Similar to database of the past case studies in technical trees, whether there is a database repository of the business trees cases which can be referred to while studying, practicing business trees.
We are creating one. We are creating one because I trained around 1,500 students by now, 3 levels. And level 3 is not available in English yet, but it's going to be available this year. But I trained about 1,500 people, and a case, you know, that I train on the basis of real problems. So those all real problems are stored now in one big archive, which is available to my students. But we are building a new archive. And how long it will take, I expect in approximately 2 years, well, be frank. I don't want to hurry. In approximately 2 years, we are going to have a repository for TRIZ cases for business trees.
Okay, thank you. Now, another question from Young Won Sun. Can you explain more about your business contradiction matrix with new parameters explaining business features? How did you extract these business parameters?
Oh, no.
Actually answered that question.
No, I did not extract this. It is done by Darrell Mann. Darrell Mann was one of the first who joined me, by the way, in developing business trees since 1999. I told you about this story. And in 2003, he wrote a book, Hands-on Innovation for Business and Management. And now he is only interested in contradiction matrix. And contradiction matrix 3.0 consists of 45 parameters, business parameters. I can show you now at this moment, but it's not by me. It's not by me.
A couple more questions. One of them is super interesting, I think. A question from HF Shong. How can we apply TRIZ in helping weak students in their studies?
First of all, we have to define what do you mean with weak. Because weakness, it's a general term, but it can be, it can refer to different incapabilities. For instance, a weak memory, or an autism, and so on. So weakness can be positioned in different categories. And with each category, we have to deal differently, I believe. I have approximately, I trained about 8,000 people by now. And right now I have online training, which is much more individual than before. And definitely I have fast-moving students and I have slow-moving students. But slow-moving are not weak, you know, they are slow-moving. That's a problem because each course has a certain tempo. And all students have to keep up this tempo to be successful because, well, I cannot deal with students for years. But when I see that a person is creative, is good doing, but is slow moving, I put him aside and deal separately. So each weak student has his incapability or disadvantage, which has to be targeted individually. And if there is a wish to train weak student, they have to be dealt individually. That's my opinion. I don't see any other way. Don't see any other way. Or weak students with the same incapability can be collected into a cluster, and with different incapabilities can be collected in different clusters, and these different clusters can be taught separately. I don't see any other way to solve this problem.
Thanks, Valeri. And now the question of the hour, if not of the century. How to make $1 million as a TRIZ consultant?
You don't need to be a TRIZ consultant.
Experience.
You don't need to be a TRIZ consultant. Absolutely. Listen, when I arrived here to the Netherlands, it was 31 years ago, I met one of the millionaires. He had many millions already. And he was relatively young. And he told me, Valeri, there is absolutely so easy. I don't understand what's buzz about how to make millions. What you do, you find a business which you want to do and make a plan. Okay, you want to sell carrots. Okay, how many carrots you can sell per month? Okay, then calculate how many months you need to earn $1 million. And that's it. And then go and execute your plan. You know, it's not a joke. It is true. I once set up how much money I earned from my training and from my consulting, and finally I made the first $1 million. What's wrong about it? You don't need TRIZ for it. It's much easier than TRIZ. Most important is to find what people need, what you can offer, and to meet these two ends. That's it. That's it. And of course you can find, people say that to make millions you need investments. You need cash to invest. But there are things like you don't need cash. You don't need it at all, especially if you are dealing with intellectual property businesses. Yeah, no. But if you're talking about million, okay, if you're talking about TRIZ, then TRIZ can help you to find this area, a niche of the market, where you can make your $1 million. Yeah, TRIZ can help it. Or if you face problems, TRIZ can help you. Or if you face difficulty to get resources, TRIZ can help you. Because TRIZ helps to find resources, to search for resources. So basically, yes, TRIZ can help. But in general, you don't need to TRIZ to make $1 million. Believe me, making $1 million is much, much easier than to making a good invention.
Okay, thank you, Valeri. I hope Ahmed finds your answer satisfactory. Now we have 1 more minute before we have to wrap up the webinar. If you have a quick question, there is a chance to ask it, but it should be a very quick question, which implies a very short, even shorter answer. Okay, I guess there are no more questions. Valeri, thanks so much for enlightening us about the application of TRIZ in business, about business TRIZ. I'm sure that people have more questions they can think of, and you can forward their questions to Valeri directly. And let me tell you that in a month or so, we're going to have another webinar in this series on by MATRIZ official. You will get notified about it in time. Again, thank you everyone for attending. Have a great balance of your day, whatever it is, night or early morning, and take care, everyone. Thank you, Valeri, again.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.